Hello everybody and welcome to another vidcast. I'm Dave Morgan, and today we got ourselves a question from a young man named Tyler. And he says, I know lately we have had many natural disasters, earthquakes, hurricanes, and tidal waves. I know the Bible says that in the last days earthquakes will come. Why are we having them in the first place and not use something else? Tyler. Now, there are three scriptural references that Tyler is referring to. I'm just going to make a list here and I'll post them in the description below the video as to what they are. And basically in all three of these scriptures found in both, or in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, you'll have a one phrase that says divers earthquakes in divers places. And this is consistent. You know, I got a few other words that are consistent too, but we're just going to focus on natural disasters right now. And why does God use natural disasters instead of using something else like, I don't know, sparkles in the sky or something of, something a little less gentle? You got to realize from God's perspective, he's first of all, he's not the cause of the storms. Okay? You'll find, if you read the book of Kings, you will see that Elijah, Elijah, that guy, the first Elijah, when he was in a mountain, he noticed that first there came an earthquake, then came fire, then came a tornado. And he found out that God was not in any of those three disasters. But then at the end of all that destruction, this still small voice that he knew God was there. Okay? And so God is not causing the earthquakes that we're experiencing today. He's not causing the hurricanes. He may have done a few disasters here and there, but largely speaking, 99% of the time, God is not the direct reason for the natural disasters, but we are. The fact that we are sinners, the fact that this world is engulfed in sin, has made this earth very sick. Okay? And now, since the time of the flood, because before the flood there was no such thing as natural disasters. After the flood came, we suffered all sorts of type of different elements, from snow to rain to hail to everything. And so towards the end, what's going on the earth is reverting back to its original state of not going back and forth as it does. Right now it tilts, goes from one side, then it goes to another side. It does this all year round. That's how you get different seasons. And before this is all said and done, the earth is going to be standing still, rotating in just one continuous motion before it's done. Now, the thing that I want to try to get at is, because I don't want you to think that God is not in control. That's not what I'm trying to say. God is still in control of every storm and disaster out there. Now, yes, even though we're the reasons for that disaster, even though we're the reasons for the storms that we're facing because of sin, because somebody decided to eat the fruit when they were supposed to, the thing to realize that I'm not trying to say God is not in control. I want you to know that God is very much in control. Yes, a hurricane will crop up. He's not sending it, but it'll crop up, but he will command that hurricane that, hey, enough is enough. And that hurricane will stop and cease to function. The earthquake will crop up, and he'll say, hey, enough is enough, and the earthquake is no more. God is still very much in control of all the weather. And let me give you two more examples of God in the storms. Okay? As I mentioned before, of Elijah. Two more storms stories, both you can find in the Bible, and it deals with a vessel on the sea. And if there's anything that you know of if you talk to sailor friends, if you talk to people who ever been on boats and who ever been on a boat in a storm, they have probably seen rough storms. And in fact, they could probably tell you of one storm that seems the roughest in their life that they thought they would never make it through. So people have seen rough storms, but the two stories I want to refer to, it refers to people that seen bad storms also, but never seen them as bad as the one that they were going through at this point. First of all, we're going to start with Jonah. And Jonah, as you know, was on a boat that he should not have been on, going to a place he should not be going to. And God, when he sent that storm, see, this is God sending the storm. He said it in such a way that the sailors, that the people that man that boat all the time that's been in the storms, have never, ever experienced a storm of that magnitude ever. They thought for sure that it won't be long before they perish. They thought that, and they each had their own specific God. You'll notice that each of them have their own specific God. They'll say, you know, you have one captain saying, okay, you pray to your God, and you pray to your God, and whoever God's listening, we'll just say thank you to that guy. You know, and then, of course, they had to go and get Jonah. Like, okay, you got a God too, right? You can pray to him. All right, so when Jonah jumps off, obviously, the storm ceases. So God was in the midst of that storm. Now, another storm where there was another bad storm where the people of the boat thought it was going to perish for sure, but God was not in it, or a part of the storm, but he was in the boat. I'm referring to when Jesus was told us, let's go to the other side, and the storm crept up. God was not in that storm. And I'll tell you why, too. Well, how do you know? Why in the world would God send a storm that can almost destroy him and his, destroy his son? That would make no sense, would it? So, but God does allow these storms to happen. He does allow these things to take place. And the disciples, being experienced on the water, they knew what to do. They were already doing what they been trained to do, as it were. They've been throwing out water already. But when it came down to it, they saw Jesus and say, hey, Jesus, we need a hand throwing out this water. But instead, Jesus said, peace be still. And just like I said before, even though God is not directly the cause of the storm, he is still in control. When Jesus said, peace be still, that storm did exactly what it was commanded to do, to stop. And just remember that. God may not be the reason for the storms that we're experiencing, even in our own lives. The storm may be big, but remember one thing, God is always bigger than your storm. Okay? So, I hope this helped. I hope this gave you a little bit more insight. And thank you for that question. Also, please write into the show. Comment below. Tell me what you think about the video. Tell me what you think about these storms that we're having. Do you guys like it? What do you think about all that? If you have a question, that you want to write to me to make it into a vidcast, again, write to me in the form above, and I'll turn that into a vidcast. If you have a prayer request, I will pray for you. If you have a testimonial, please share that. I want to share with us, or I want to share with others what God has done for you. And let your encouragement be the encouragement somebody else may need. You never know if your story will touch the life of another. And that's what it's all about. Because once your story touches the life of another, that might be the light bulb moment they need to keep going on to heaven. And before you know it, they may see you in heaven and say, thank you for sharing that story with us on the internet. Okay? Thanks for watching. God bless.